Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Coast Star and the Asbury Park Press, our official newspapers, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilman Donovan? Here. Councilwoman Kinney? Here. Mayor Buckfusco?
Here.
Councilwoman Rondinero?
Here.
Councilman Levin?
Here.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our troops and first responders. Okay, thank you. Workshop discussion. Before I forget, let me wish everyone a happy Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Since we're not having another meeting until December 29th, I believe, so then we'll wish everyone Happy New Year. The two things that I have on for discussion tonight. One was the cat licensing. We had briefly mentioned that in connection with the TNR program, and I believe April said we had that at one point with very few participants. So I just wanted to discuss with the council, is it worth even thinking about that, or should we just leave things as they are now and just license dogs? What does anyone think about that?
My opinion is we should leave it to the dogs.
Leave it to the dogs, okay?
Me too, and I'm going to tell you, I have a cat, and she does go in and out, but I don't put a collar on her because it's dangerous. If they get caught up on something, it could potentially harm them. So that's part of the reason why I've never done that. I mean, I could still license her, but she wouldn't wear it, right? You know, so that's the danger with the outdoor cat.
Anyone else? No?
Probably cost us more money to initiate an ordinance to do it than we would actually get in revenue from cat licensing.
And
Probably.
I did poll some of the other towns to find out what they charge, and Lake Como did mention that they are going to stop licensing cats.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing is we're not going to do that.
And it's only, each town only charges a few dollars, like $5, $7 a cat. So.
But I will remind people to license their dogs. The New Year's coming up, so please make sure you come in and get a license. Okay, the second thing, which is just the last minute, and we weren't going to mention it, but I am going to mention it. We just were awarded a grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation, the Transit Village Grant Program for our Belmar Station pedestrian safety and improvement product, and the amount of the award is $484,000. So we'll be working with, obviously, Mr. Kane and the engineers to do what we need to do as far as that grant goes, and hopefully, at future meetings, we'll be more specific as to what the actual things that will be done, how they're going to play out. But it was, this was a resolution we had passed. I don't know if it was the last meeting or 2 meetings ago, and I think it's something we were surprised that we were going to get approved. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's going to tie in also. It's pedestrian safety around the whole train station, and tie into the DOT's plans for that mid-block crosswalk by the senior building, and just basically go from 8th to 10th, that whole Belmar Plaza area, and just improve pedestrian safety. So it's we put it in a couple different ways, and we're able to get the transit portion of it.
Right. So that was a nice surprise, actually, for us. Anyone else have an item for the workshop?
I have one thing, Mayor, regarding ordinance 2023-21. This is a bond ordinance. We're reappropriating some money Kevin, just so I'm clear, this is for the marina. Is this going to allow us to do some bids potentially for piling work?
Correct.
Okay. So there's some work down there that's been long overdue. If we can get the pilings done, that allows us actually to open up some more slips for rental, so we can get some more revenue from those slips. So happy to see that on the agenda tonight.
Anything else? If not, we'll just move on to petitions. Are there any petitions for the council?
I did not receive any. Approval of minutes, we have a motion to approve the November 28th minutes.
Motion?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Reports of council?
Hi, everyone. I have a couple of things. First, I wanted to say thank you for the great candy cane hunt. That was the inaugural event, despite the fact that it was pouring rain and there was some confusion from some participants over whether or not it was actually still on. It was still great, and the best thing for me, as someone with 3 kids and on too many mom threads to count, was how many people were not only excited about the candy cane hunt itself, but we're excited to go into all our different borough businesses. And I know people have already been trying out new restaurants that they haven't been into before, which is really like between the kids being thrilled and our businesses finding new customers is the best possible outcome. Thank you to all the borough staff who participated in that. I know some of our staff went over to Manasquan last week to check out their event, and we're hoping for an even bigger and better one next year. So thank you. What else? We had the menorah lighting last night with Cantor Gabrielle for the new Monmouth Reformed Temple. It was a beautiful, beautiful event. Thank you again for everyone who showed up to that, and for Chris Randall for hosting afterwards. It was beautiful. The food was delicious. I can personally testify to that. So thank you. Small Verizon update, which was that there was a hearing on, do you remember, was it Wednesday? Monday? It was on Monday, and that was to see whether or not our residents who are filing the motion to intervene will be able to be accepted as interveners. We haven't found out yet, but that should happen at some point.
In a couple weeks.
In a couple weeks, so slow and steady. As part of the Belmar Environmental Commission, I actually went over, there was a meeting for CLONET, which is part of the Urban Coast Institute. And those are our citizen scientists here in town who take regular samples, Silver Lake, Lake Como, and throughout the surrounding towns. And I was asked to do a presentation of what we've learned about Silver Lake here. So I did that today. There was a brief history, what we know, what we want to accomplish, and all of our hurdles. But I'm hoping to present more on that in an upcoming meeting. And we're really excited about what we're doing there. I know we're going to discuss that further in the Environmental Commission meeting coming up, along with recommendations about what we'd like to accomplish and do there in the immediate. Another thing coming up for the new year, for all you nerds out there, we've got we're going to start the website audit. I know Sharon Mahoney's here. She volunteered, she's our first volunteer to help me go through. If anyone else would like to volunteer, I promise you it is a thankless task. Very tedious, but if you'd like to volunteer your time to help us out, please contact me. And finally, our newsletter. We have, I think, 4 or 5 editions down. If anyone would ever like to submit anything, whether it's a shout out to somebody in town who's accomplished something, an event you'd like to highlight that's upcoming or that's past, whatever it is, you can email newsletter@belmar.com to send it, and we'll make sure and highlight that for you. Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Kinney?
Thank you so much, Mayor. I was also at the candy cane hunt, and the very next day was the Christmas tree lighting, and it was awesome. Really, really great turnout. There was a great, Santa was awesome, DPW, thank you so much for the police department and everybody that participated in the tree lighting. It was so great. This past weekend was the first laser light show of the 2 that we're going to have in town. It was hosted by Raising Forward. It was a great event, and they are raising money for Rally Cap Sports, which is going to help kids with special needs participate in sporting events, sporting activities. So really good cause. The next one is this Sunday at 6 p.m. So come out, it's a good event. Okay, so the ADA is having their meeting next month. We have not determined a date yet, but that will be sometime in January. We'll let you know. The Shade Tree Commission, their next meeting is actually this Thursday at 6:30. Recreation, no major updates, just that rec basketball starts the week of January 8th and signups are closed for that. They're getting ready with tryouts and picking teams and practice and all that. Belmar School. So first off, I want to just say that the Beach Music, Danny White Beach Music Studios had their rock band Christmas show. It was so great. Some of the council members, the mayor was there. It was a really great, I'm partial to my son who plays. It was amazing. But they get better and better every year. It was a really good show. May awarded a scholarship to a Belmar Elementary student, voice lessons for 1 year to Belmar student Jesus Lorenzo Perez. So that was great. So we're excited for him for his scholarship. And Belmar Elementary's winter concert is this Thursday at 6:30, and the last day for winter break, half day, on Friday the 22nd. They come back on January 2nd. And St. Rose High School around the schools their opening season opener for boys basketball is this Thursday at 6:30. It's going to be, I think it's already sold out. It's going to be a really great game. So look out for more games for the boys basketball team. And the last day for both St. Rose Grammar School and the high school, they have a half day Thursday the 21st, and they also go back January 2nd for Christmas break. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rondinero.
Mayor. The Belmar Housing Authority met last Monday. I did request more information for those who were concerned about the safety of the freight elevator. And during their meeting, we actually learned that it's not a freight elevator, it is a passenger elevator. It's just more of the back of the house elevator, like they have in hospitals. So it does open from the sides. It has the control panel inside the elevator, so it is accessible. They needed a, what was it? A new balance valve for that elevator. And now they have it, and it's passed inspection. So now they are starting work on the main elevator. It will take 7 weeks, but when it's done, it will be modernized and up to code. So we're excited to hear about that. I did reach out to Congressman Smith's office. The congressional directed spending, that would include the $676,000 we asked for repairs for the building, is still subject to the passage of the funding bill, which was extended at the end till the end of January. So until it's passed, we won't know if this was included, but I'll let you know as I know. The borough received from Monmouth County Health Department some COVID tests, so I was able to deliver some of those tests to the BHA to be given out to the residents. And I wanted to thank the Belmar Lake Como Kids Club for coming to the BHA building and caroling with our seniors. The residents loved having the kids come in, and we enjoyed cookies and hot chocolate and a visit from Santa, and we sang carols. It was wonderful. The Belmar Public Library will have their next board meeting Tuesday, December 19th at 6 p.m. The library's complete weekly roster of health and fitness classes will continue into the new year. The library, in partnership with Belmar Rec, offers 1 to 2 health fitness classes every week. Toddler, storytime, knitting, sewing, and bridge will also continue into the new year as scheduled. The library wishes to thank everyone for coming to the Christmas concert featuring Dopo Float on Wednesday, December 6th. The performance was excellent and everyone had a great time. A reminder that the library is now open Sundays from 10 to 2. The library will be closed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, December 23rd, 4th, and 25th for the Christmas holiday. And the library wishes everyone a happy and safe holiday season. I hope to see you in the new year. As we all were talking about, the borough has been hopping with events. The Candy Cane Hunt was great. Thank you, John Walsh, Councilwoman Donovan, the Belmar Tourism Commission, and the businesses who participated. It really was incredible. The businesses were so generous and the families were so grateful. The tree lighting was wonderful with Belmar Elementary School chorus, and our menorah lighting service yesterday was beautiful. And thank you again to Brandel for hosting such a wonderful event afterwards. They had a friendship bracelet fundraiser for individuals and families affected by the ongoing conflict in Israel. So I have mine here, and it's beautiful, and I'm sure you can contact them if you're interested. I was also able to attend the pop-up sale at the Belmar Historical Society on Saturday. If you missed it, there's another one. It's this Saturday, and they'll have it from 1 to 3 at the BHS Museum. Come and find the perfect gift for anyone who loves Belmar. I know I found some treasures. Youth Government Day. This was the first time I was able to participate in it, and it was a blast. Seeing the Belmar Elementary School youth learn about all the moving parts of the borough, from mayor and council, administrative, police department, fire department, EMS, municipal court, and water safety. It just gave me an even greater appreciation for how fine a dance this borough works. We loved meeting Council President Levis and Councilwoman Donovan, and I loved meeting and talking shop with our youth mayor and council and watching the students recreate a mock murder trial in the courtroom. Lastly, if you haven't applied for the Anchor program yet for 2023, please look into it. The deadline to file is December 29th. Renters can be eligible for a $450 rebate, and homeowners up to $1,000 to $1,750, depending upon your age and income. We had some questions very early in the year regarding our senior building residents, and we encourage people to apply. See if they qualify, go ahead and apply. And we did hear that some have already received their Anchor checks. So the website is anchornj.gov, or you can call 877-658-2972. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Levis.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll add to Councilwoman Rondonara's message on Youth Government Day. Watch out, those kids want to put in a water park. I think we'll hold off on that one. Just an advisory, Santa is visiting Belmar tomorrow, so if you hear a lot of sirens and trucks, just understand it's just Santa making his early rounds, so just be aware of that. One event coming up too on Saturday, December 16th, between 7 and 8, the B Street Carolers and the Walsh family are hosting their annual, I think it's the 11th annual caroling in their driveway. That's at 1101 B Street. So Saturday, December 16th, 7 to 8. You don't want to miss it. It's a good time. That's all I have.
Okay, there was one thing I failed to mention during the work session, which we've thrown around a bit, and that was the 5-minute rule. In our current ordinances, there is an ordinance that says basically persons addressing the council shall be limited to 5 minutes, and I think we're ready to do that, and we're going to probably start that at the beginning of the year, unless somebody has an objection to it. But it's my observation that I think 99% of the people are speaking less than 5 minutes anyway. But it's important because I've had complaints from members of the public who've been sitting and waiting to come up, and it just kind of drags on and on and on. So we're going to start that at the first meeting, and we'll see how it goes. And by the way, the first meeting is also going to be our reorganization meeting. The resolution is on the agenda tonight, but it's going to be our reorg meeting plus a regular meeting at that point. So it's going to be in the evening, I believe, also. So a little different from years past. But just take note of the schedule that we have in the resolution. That's all I have.
Session. If anyone would like to comment or ask a question about a resolution that's listed on the agenda, please step forward, state your name and address. This is just on resolutions. We'll have another public comment at the end. Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we are going to amend the consent agenda to remove resolution 2023-248, resolution permitting special events. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda, consent agenda, to remove that resolution?
Motion.
Why are we doing that?
I have to recuse myself from that resolution, so I would like to pull it off of the consent agenda.
All right, all in favor of that?
So remove it, yes.
Aye.
Okay, so now can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Bucklepesco?
Yes.
Councilman Romanero?
Yes.
Councilman Levin?
Yes.
Next, can I have a motion to approve Resolution 2023-248?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Can I ask
Councilman?
a question?
Sure.
Is the public now being asked whether they have comments on, or questions on Resolution 248?
No, that was included in the public comment
Yeah,
before.
that public comment session, this was pulled from the consent agenda.
It was on all
No.
resolutions.
I don't know if any members have any objection, Mr. Creamer asking a question.
Go ahead.
Okay? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Eugene Creamer, Fourth Avenue. I just have a question on this. Eugene Creamer, Fourth Avenue. I have a question about one of these special events. This Cupid's Chase, scheduled for February 10th. Can somebody just elaborate on what this event actually is? Is this a fundraiser for a charity? All I read about here is that it's begins and ends at bar anticipation. Is this a Valentine's Day event, or is it for a 501c3, or is it just a party that a bar that wants to use the streets of Belmar? I don't know what they want to use, but is it just a private bar that wants to use the town for an event?
I don't have any information on it. I don't know.
The 5K.
Yeah, I understand 5K, but
Community Options Enterprises. Yeah.
I mean, are they-
5K to help to raise awareness for people with disabilities. Their organization works with people with disabilities.
I'm sorry, it's just that the description here on the actual resolution itself, but just, who are these people? Well, the only name I get out of this is Bar Anticipation, which is not in Belmar.
So it's a fundraising event,
Yeah,
sounds like, a 5K event.
the race begins and ends outside of Bar A. So it's, I don't think this is the first time that it's been an event in Belmar.
Does anybody know where the route is? I mean,
Hold on.
is my street going to be shut down, or is the boardwalk going to be dedicated?
It looks like it starts at Bar A, it circles Lake Como, it hits Ocean Ave, but only briefly, and then travels back up and over, it looks like to, no, 16. Yeah, it's almost entirely, and then goes back down Main Street. So that's, you can picture the tetrahedron. I don't know what shape that is, I can't make it bigger. But, yeah. So only slightly in
south of 16th, more or less.
It really only hits Belmar at the eastern end of Lake Como.
All up in the corner, in other words, when they go around the lake.
It's a Lake Como event, but because of Florida, they come to Belmar.
Yeah.
Yes.
It really looks like a Lake Como race now,
Yeah.
we're looking at the map.
Yeah.
It looks like it was
Has it been
16
approved by
south.
Lake Como or?
I would, yes, it has been. Yeah, and I think the only reason why we're in it, we've had discussions about this, it's just that little corner going around the lake that's in Belmar.
Yeah, by,
Yeah,
Up
kind of
by
over near the arches,
by
near
South,
Yeah.
South Lake,
by
yeah.
South Lake Drive and, so.
90% of it, 99% of it is in Lake Como.
You're welcome.
And is it because of Valentine's Day or something? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Cupid's cheeks, yeah.
Yeah.
this is Valentine's
But it's raising money for
Day.
people with disabilities.
Yeah, that's what April just said. It's raising money for people with disabilities. That's what April just brought up.
Yeah.
And it's mostly in.
Well, she
Lake
gave the
Como.
company name of it.
I know when you leave Bar A, you
It's
probably.
a
just say,
nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit.
There we go, all good?
Okay?
Google.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve oh wait, I have a motion and a second, so on that resolution, so we'll just do roll call. Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckles?
Yes.
Councilman Rondemaro?
Yes. Yes.
Next, we have second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2023-20. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Section 2.5, which is beach badge, beach locker fees. This is open for public hearing. If anyone would like to comment on the ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-20.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckles?
Yes.
Councilman Rondemaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
All right, and last item is first reading and introduction of bond ordinance 2023-21. This is bond ordinance reappropriating $400,000 in excess bond proceeds not needed for the original purposes in order to finance the cost of various marina improvements.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckles?
Yes.
Councilman Rondemaro? Councilman Levis?
Yes.
All right, next, so now we're at public session. If anyone would like to comment, ask a question, just remember to state your name and address first.
Matthew Trice, 15th Avenue, 17th Avenue. I went to Belmar Elementary School, and I am the music director at Belmar Arts Center. It's good to see you. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me, but I'm here today because of a structure near the Belmar Arts Center. I'm here because I was watching the news the last few they were talking about this building in the Bronx that just collapsed all of a sudden. And I guess they didn't meet any. I guess they probably did meet some regulations, but they were getting a lot of ghosted calls, if you will, over the course of many years. Now, there's a building in this town that has a very similar story to it. You might know what that building is, where the address is? 710 8th Avenue. There have been scaffolds put around the building. I'm sure you can see it every time you drive by. It's been there since August. And every time I go to the landlord, and I'm like, what we gonna do about it? He's like, I don't know what we're gonna do about it, man. So I'm here because I want to go to him and give him some feedback about how that building is going to be fixed.
you so much. I'm sorry, my microphone's not working too well. Thank you so much for bringing this, to our attention. It's not something that is new. As liaison to that building that you're speaking of, I know that they have been working very hard.
It's Belmar Housing Authority, right?
Yes. They've been working very hard to actually get, the scaffolding was the first part of it, but also getting the funding so that they can redo the brick facade completely. That facade is deteriorated. We've gone to as far as congressional asks for it, but there is good news about it. We are out now for bids for actually getting the metal structures that will hold that building in place to prevent exactly what you're talking
I'm
about.
sorry, what do you mean by bids?
Bids from other construction companies so that they can actually put up metal rods to secure the building, so that we wouldn't have a collapse like you're talking about. And that has been in the works, and in a month, we should have those bids back.
I was gonna say, is there like a timeline to usually like in an auction, there's somebody with a real high-pitched voice going, making it so that people can put in their bids quick. How, this has been going on since August.
It's a federal building, so unfortunately that is the way that it's federally owned. It's a HUD building, so things do move a little bit slower. However, the Belmar Housing Authority has put in all that they have in their capital towards this repair this year, or this coming year. So that is, they're putting everything up front that they have to fix what is broken. And I understand your frustration. I understand your stress about it. I know the residents in the building feel similarly, and we'll continue to work to advocate so that it's done and that it's done properly and as fast as possible.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. See you next month.
Good evening, Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue. And this is the last meeting, so I have a few questions. We'd like an update on 12th and Main. Have we started utilizing the $300,000 in escrow for the remediation of that site?
Yes.
Okay, what have we done since I last asked that question?
That's an engineering question. I can't answer it technically, but I know that there have been monitoring wells put in. They're constantly being monitored. I've heard that one or two of the wells had to be new wells had to be put in because of certain well collapsed or something. So it's in the monitoring stage, and some of that money has been used to pay the ongoing organization, the company that's doing that. Other than that, I can't give you any more specifics.
Okay, so next meeting, can we have the specifics? We have $300,000. How much have we used?
Well, we don't have it. We don't have it.
Well,
The
it's in
attorney
an
told me.
escrow account,
Right.
right? So
I can find out exactly how much has been charged to
I
that
would
escrow.
like to think that we would have a plan in place so we could remediate the property, because you talked about there were 3 options at one meeting. Have you decided what option you'd like to exercise?
No.
Okay, when might you reach that? What is this decision hinging on?
It's just a matter of us looking at some of the other things that are going on in the borough, and I think shortly, in the beginning of the new year, I think we'll have some kind of a definite answer on that.
Okay, thank you. I was impressed last time I was here and you talked about taking Taylor Pavilion and adding bathrooms in lieu of having trailers on the beach, since we're, I think, down 2. Have you started engineering plans for that renovation?
Yes.
Okay. Have we submitted a CAFRA permit?
I don't know that. I know our engineers on top of it, and we've had architect do architectural drawings. I don't know I don't know if a CAFR permit is even required for that at this point. You know,
I don't believe so, Mayor, because it's an existing structure and it sits within the footprint that's already defined in the CAFR permit. So,
Even though you'd have to increase the number of waste pipe or the volume of waste running through that property?
utilities are already there.
All right. And then when do you expect to go out for bids for this project?
The architect drawings are in place now. They're going through that, and then once that is done, it'll go out to bid.
How long do you expect that process to take?
Very soon.
All right, so if we're not starting by the beginning of the year, and even then, I wouldn't expect us to have bathrooms that the public could use on Memorial Day weekend. What are your options for putting in toilets on the beach for the people that are paying $80 for the seasonal badge?
well, first, I wouldn't answer that question on that presumption that we're not going to have that. The presumption in my mind is we will have bathrooms in the Taylor Pavilion. Okay. Now, to your question is basically what will we do if we don't, for some reason, something happens. We have a few options. We can put the bathrooms back like we had them last year, or we can, if it's a very, very short temporary thing, like, oh, they're going to need 2 or 3 weeks to finish up, we could use porta potties. So there are a number of different things that could be done, but the goal is to have the bathrooms done by Memorial Day.
So since we don't have anybody who's come in on a bid, what's your engineering team saying about the expected time it would take to put in the required toilets at that site?
We haven't had that discussion yet as to expected time. The only discussion we've had is they know the end goal, they know we want them in by a certain time, and we have not been told anything that would prevent me or Mr. Kane from thinking that's not going to happen.
Well, having done a bathroom myself, it took more than 3 months, and since the process isn't started, I wish you luck. Okay?
Thank you.
And I hope it gets done. My next question is, what streets are we looking to have paved in the next 6 months? We have
No, I can't answer that question because in fact, we just met today. We had a very extended meeting on the entire plan that needs to be put together for water, sewer, lead pipes. It's more of an issue of what we need to do under the paving than the actual paving itself. So, you know, we're working on that. It's going to be a multi-year project. It's going to be prioritized based on need, based on you know, things that must be done. I don't think we have any. I don't know that we have any plans in the next 6 months. I know there are 1 or 2 things that have already been funded that need to be done by a certain date, but I don't know. We met with the engineer today, and I don't think there was anything on that short order. Mr. Kane, do you have any thoughts on that?
It's all based around the replacement of lead service lines. You know, that's the top priority, and we talked about 14th. There's been grant awarded for 5th.
Right.
They need utility work also. That was exactly what the meeting was for today, is to put a capital plan in place so we prioritize our needs, and then based on those needs, that's how the plan is going to be.
So is my understanding that the previous administration had a plan? Have we updated what they were looking at instead of reinventing the wheel, like utilize some of the information? You know, we're all members of this community, and it would be nice, instead of reinventing everything every time there's an administration change, that we as a group could work together to utilize things that were already put in place.
Well, we haven't reinvented anything. We're very fortunate that we have workers, utility workers that know the systems, inside out. So we haven't had to reinvent anything. They brought their knowledge to the table. We had maps. We know where certain lines are, where all the lines are. And what we're doing through the engineering process is we're trying to get them out of paper into like I forget what GIS type thing where we can actually, have them in a database someplace so we can actually do what you're saying we should do. In other words, it'll be there for other administrations and other people to see. Right now, we're still working off paper and people's memories. And, but I think, all of the information that was around for the last 4 or 8 years, we have. And so we haven't had to reinvent anything. It's really now a matter of just seeing what has happened from when, let's say 2019 to now. Certain things have occurred in terms of, the sewage system. We're aware of a lot of infiltration down 8th Avenue. So we've been prioritizing, like Mr. Kane said, we'd like to do the lead line replacement first because we have a time span on that. The DEP wants it done in 8 years. We have another 8 years to do that. The next thing is to deal with the infiltration problem because every time water infiltrates into our sewage system, it costs us more money. So that's the first thing we want to do is we want to stop the bleeding in terms of how much we're paying our local sewage authority. When we fix those lines, then we won't have to worry about stormwater being treated at the sewer plant. And at the same time, we're trying to maximize, when we open a street, make sure that we do everything that needs to be done because we don't want to go back, in a year or 2 or 3 and have to reopen that street to replace something or fix something. So, it's kind of a big project, but it's very doable. It's just a matter of prioritizing. And again, the priorities, could shift, from 1 year to the next, depending upon what happens. But the overall plan is, we know which pipes are good, and we're talking about water pipes, sewer pipes, and storm drain pipes. So we have a good idea of, the conditions of all those pipes on all the various streets. So now it's just a matter of coming up with a plan to say, okay, which ones are we going to do first? Which ones must we do? Which ones, we're going to stop the infiltration because that's going to lower our bill for the sewage authority. We have a deadline with the lead pipe one, so we want to do that. So I mean, it's a little complicated, but it's very doable. Once we sit down, and then and then the bottom line is, how much we're going to do each year, because there's a cost to all this. So it's going to have to be laid out over a number of years to do this. And once we do it, everyone will know this is what the plan is. These are the pipes, that have to be fixed, and the order in which we hope that we're going to do it. So
you had mentioned that there are professionals who know all about this layout. Are they employees of the Belmar?
Our employees, they are, yes.
Okay.
Water department employees.
All right. And they just, when you get to do that, when they did 3rd Avenue, they left 2 houses without any water because there wasn't a process in place to check that everybody was reconnected. If somebody was somebody came back from vacation to find out they had no water in their house. So it would be nice to have some notice so somebody could check on the places that might be vacant. But this is down the line when you get to the next phase. Thank you.
Definitely do that. Come on up.
Hello, everyone. Sharon Mahoney, 800 Main Street. I have a couple of questions. One is, what is the status of finishing the path around Lake Como on the Belmar side?
I think Mr. Kane had an answer for that today.
Billy Musson and I met with Jerry Frieda from Avakian on Friday, Monday? Friday. And they're starting, they're laying it out. And the grant money's been received from the county. All the engineering work is done, and we met to did a site visit on Friday to lay it out, what
Do we know what the time frame is? For when it's gonna be done?
It's still in the design phase.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a utility pole there, there's some lights and things like that. So that was the purpose of the site visit, to figure out how the path was going to go and what had to be done. So he's designing it right now, but I think they anticipate doing the work in early spring to have it done for next summer.
Okay, great. Another question. First of all, thank you for getting all the handicap spots updated, painted in the right way. I do have a question about one spot that was painted on 8th Avenue. I'm addressing my comment too. On the south side of the street heading east in front of a house. What is the reason, and I have an ultimate reason for my question. What is the reason for that spot being painted handicapped?
I think I know the specific spot, and I think it usually there is a provision for individuals to get a permit, a license permit in front of their house, I think. And I don't know if that's one of them, but
It's been there for a really long time, so I don't know if it's something, I know it's not new. Billy, do you know how long that spot's been there?
No, I don't. I know it has been there a while, and it was quite faded, but residents can
if
request.
I'm not mistaken though, if you look in the, and I haven't done this, but if you look in the ordinance book, it should be listed as a spot.
Okay, the person no longer lives there. So there's no longer a handicapped person in that house. That's the reason I'm asking as to what process you go through to verify that that spot is even necessary.
I think we wait for someone like you to come up and tell us that it's not being utilized anymore.
Yeah, so
we'll look at the ordinance,
Yeah.
because it would have to be done by ordinance. So we
if
can
you
double
took away
check
a
that.
spot,
and
a
see.
parking spot, you know, granted it was handicapped before, we took away a real parking spot, going there that's not necessary. So and I only know that because a neighbor mentioned it to me and said that person has
But we
lived
can
there for a
double check,
while.
absolutely.
So that should,
Yeah.
and I think that should be done for anywhere you're gonna put one. It's great that you put one in front of the convent, if they're calling it that, you know, because I know that they, you know, need that. But I think verifying, you know, that spot, wherever you're painting in front of somebody's house, the person actually is still there, would be part of your process. Along with that, if you're putting the real spot back there, I'd like to have a spot locked out, and I welcome anybody to drive through this parking lot. The parking lot behind 800 Main Street, if you're coming out to 8th Avenue, it is murder to go right or left. There's somebody that's been parking there from, and I know he works at Staples, from like 6 in the morning or before 6 in the morning till whatever, and he's got a white Jeep, and it's really high, and it's, well, not high, but high to me, because you're pulling out and you're going like this, and I have gotten hit almost a couple times trying to inch out. If a motorcycle parks there, no problem, because you can see over them, right? So it's really hard to see traffic coming west until you're in the lane of traffic going east. So if there's any way to block that, there's 2 spots there. So if you block off one of them, just no parking or motorcycle parking only, because you can see over motorcycles, that's a safety issue, you know, in my mind. There's a lot of traffic that comes out that driveway from people who live there, people who drive through there, delivery trucks, you know, so it's a really sketchy spot to get out anyway, even if you're going right, you have to like, okay, because cars can go flying through that light, and they're, you know, parking angly. If you're angly, you can barely see around to see the cars coming through the light, so it's, you know, and you're like, why don't you go out 9th Avenue? Well, if I'm going right on 8th, like, why don't you go out that way and that way? You know, I mean, it is an exit spot for that lot, so I don't know who I can talk to about getting that in
Well, I
consideration
think
or
the
toured or something.
process should be, we should mention it to the chief. We'll take a look at it, and then if necessary, we might have to, if it's a no parking situation, I don't know, we might have to modify the ordinance. I don't know if we have no parking zones. We'll talk about that, but depending upon what the chief says, we'll do whatever needs to be done to make that a legal, you know, space, an empty space, not for parking.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
There's 3 handicap parking spaces in the ordinance on 8th Avenue. What was the location of the one?
It's on the south side of the street between between E and the back of 800 Main Street. So probably like the second or third house up from E
600
Street.
block?
Yeah, 610 8th Avenue, probably. That's the one we have in the ordinance.
Right.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so somebody can double check that, because I don't from what I understand, that person who requested it years ago doesn't live there anymore.
All right, we'll check into it.
The side of the church.
Yeah.
Either side is.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So
fine.
it would be one side.
And the other thing, this is just to mention, one of the last meetings you were talking about the Main Street Bridge construction. And I'm just gonna throw this out there, and I mentioned the fact and some, a little ferry, seriously, I'm not joking, like a little Chappaquiddick, right? Little ferry that could go back and forth for pedestrians and bikes, because if that bridge is gonna be out for like years, people who consistently walk over that bridge from either side, you know, if there's any way we can have a little ferry that goes back and forth, find whatever. And I don't know as far as cost, like even if you pay $1, I mean, I don't know if that's, because you're doing the construction, taking away that access from the pedestrians and bicyclists. Cars can drive around, not a problem. It's the people who are on foot or on bike or motorized, you know, wheelchairs, whatever, that, you know, they can't go up over to 35 or, you know, down to Ocean Avenue. So just something to think about as far as an option, you know, little ferry companies.
Yeah, actually, the host of individuals that came to meet with us about that, one of them did mention that the state was seriously thinking about doing a ferry from Avon over to like into the marina over by like the 9th Avenue. So they're thinking of
So they could just
doing
add a
something
stop
like
on the other
that.
side of the bridge.
I don't know. I mean, that's going to be all their, that's
Okay.
their, you know, show at this point when the time comes, you know. So,
Mayor, will they still have a public session, the state, or like for this
I would
bridge?
assume.
Because I know I've been contacted by, you know, some of our local businesses, very concerned about how they're going to survive during this reconstruction of the bridge, and initially had been proposed of this parallel bridge that seemed much friendlier to our businesses and residents and just altogether traffic. Is there any way that we can, do we know when that is, or when we can attend that, or make, you know,
I can't
individually,
answer
should we
your question. I
contact
don't
the
know.
state?
I don't know, because as you know, they said, no, it's not going to start until 2028. So, you know, what they're doing between now and then, I mean, I know they sent the notice out to the businesses, so I assume they will be in touch with the towns so that we will be made aware of the detours and things like that as it comes closer. What their timeline is, I have no idea. But
All right, one final thing, Mary, are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Jody? Thing keeps going in and out. A couple times we've talked about these bicycle fix-it stations. Any progress on those?
I have bounced that over to Mr. Kane and to see how we can make that work, but so you can direct your questions to him. He might have more information for you.
Not at this point, but I'll get it for you.
Okay, so basically, I mean, in order to take care of the cost, sponsors, you know, I mean, that's a perfect answer if you're looking for, hey, we're looking to put these in, who wants to sponsor? Here are figure out which ones you want to put in, what they cost. And the sponsors, I think, would be happy to, you know, and some of them you can have little plaques put on them, you know, to say sponsored by. I mean, that's one way to take care of the cost right there, if that's what the, you know, concern is. But I think if we get them up there, put somewhere, you know, around town before summer, that's why I'm asking now, because it's December. I mean, that would be the ideal time to get them done, you know, in the spring, you know.
Okay.
Okay. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I've done the research, so.
I forwarded it all to him.
Yeah, okay, all right.
He's got it all.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
okay.
John Walsh, Avenue B Street. Where are we going to put these bicycle fix-it stations?
Well, I would assume they would be like for example, if we're doing the transit improvement by the you know the train station.
Okay.
I would assume they would be, you know, you'd have something there. I mean, it'd be at random places where people would
The
run.
request was up on the boardwalk, perhaps
There's
one on Main
there's
Street.
basically no bike riding on the way, so I think that would be
Adjacent
useful.
to the boardwalk.
Yeah, but the other part of that is,
County permission for that?
I'm an avid cyclist, and I have a great solution. There's a bag you put on your front of your bike, And you put a little wrench, a little screwdriver, and a tube, and you can do a lot with that. And you don't have to worry about anybody else to do it. Because when you get those things done, half the people don't even know how to use them. So, and then the thing about the ferries, this is no offense to anybody, but anytime you deal with the waterways, it's not just the borough, it's the state. And they're gonna go, oh yeah, just put a ferry in there. You guys can run a boat back and forth from there. Don't happen like that.
The other major issue is we have traffic going the other way on the waterway. So, I mean, I'm sure the Coast Guard is gonna have a major say in what flows on the river.
That,
So,
and
but I'd ask
do
you
me
to
a
discuss
favor,
it.
the guy you have doing your plumbing, your thing, don't hire the one Linda hired for 3 years. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? I think that's it.
A motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.